Folks, welcome back. I'm Captain Rick. Once again, we're on the Salmon River. We are working on How to Centerpin DVD number 2. Today we're using the EXP Sheffield made by Okuma. A lot of new technology we're going to fill you folks in on, and we're going to answer a lot of Q&As we've been getting on certain shot patterns and float weights as well. So stick around, we'll catch a few, and we'll get into some details for you. We got a special guest and kind of frequent flyer, a new friend, Joe Czyrny, who actually works for S Sporting Goods, to give us a hand with introducing some of you folks and educating the guys that are already introduced to it some more about the center pinning. We're happy to have Joe with us today for the second time. We did a trip with him on the Niagara River last spring, and he's a pretty cool dude, so we decided to invite him out here with us. So Joe, you've been obviously a fisherman your whole life. You've been with S for how long now?
About 4 years.
4 years. So you've seen everything change technology-wise, you know, thought process-wise. What do you see coming out for 2017 that, you know, might wow some people, or any must-haves?
Well, we have our new Riversider float rods that just came out recently for your beginner fishermen and guys that just want to start getting into it that don't want to spend $500. The rod's come in an 11-foot 2-piece and a 13-foot 3-piece.
There he is. Sorry to interrupt Joe's spiel, but this is how it works out. We got a fish on. Ever since last year when the Sheffield Okuma EXP came out, I've been addicted to it. It's just the smoothness and reliability is you know, unmatched from other stuff I've used. I've turned clients onto it. And heard nothing but good things about it, and I'm out here using it probably more than anybody else. You know, a lot of guys are, once you use something once, you stay with it as far as, you know, your brand name. But, you know, I support local business, which is S, Dave Sheffield, the owner, and I absolutely love their product. So, as you can see right now, it's working perfect.
Our newest Sheffield reel right here, it's the EXP. So there's a few different things that we did to it. The handles, the porting on it's a little bit different. So when you're reeling in, you don't need to use the handles. You can put your just put your finger in the spool to reel it in. Also the bearings on it, they are
best feature, I believe, with the handle, by the way.
I mean, slow water, fast water, it's just gonna drift out freely. You know, no effort. You're never gonna have to kickstart the reel to get it going.
It's a big fish.
Especially in the winter, sometimes you're fishing really slow water. When the steelhead move in there, you have no problem just drifting a float through there with it.
And they have a tendency in New York to drop our water on us and give us none as well. So yeah, that versatility, I think I spoke on at one of our shows that I had it in slow water and I didn't have to push it or nothing. It just kept going and it was wonderful.
And then the rod, the DR2 rod that he's using, you know, as you can see, there's plenty of backbone for these Salmon River fish.
And one of the things I like about the new rod is the thicker hand grips on it. The other ones aren't as thick. It makes you feel like you got more power behind the fish.
Float fishing is clearly the best way. You're not going to get frustrated with cold hands trying to tie all day, because when you bottom bounce, you get stuck all the time. But the most important thing is the drift. I mean, you know, you match the drift perfectly, you match the speed of the current perfectly, which makes your bait look exactly what's, you know, the other eggs that are running around down there that aren't on lines. So now what I did there, the boga grip is frozen. So if you force the fish in, you're not going to hold the fish in the mouth. It blows all the oxygen back into them. That fish will swim right away. Okay. Normally I like to use the boga grip. Saw the boga grip back there, it's frozen. So we went with Joe's trusty glove, and don't harm the fish.
That fish is going to go whoop. It's just going to want to keep going down when you have your rod straight up. It's kind of like walking the dog. You lean it down and they'll start coming to you when they're ready. So Joe, we touched a little bit on where you cover. I mean, Triple S is based out of Buffalo, right?
Yes.
And how far do you travel, and what exactly are you traveling to do?
So I do all of pretty much northern New York, and then I go to about Syracuse up to Watertown. And I also cover pretty much the whole state of Michigan. So my job technically is to go into the shops, you know, make sure they're getting the product they need, showing them the new product, you know, taking care of warranty products, anything like that. You know, just making sure they have the, you know, the product that people, you know, the consumer going in there want.
Joe's been around a while. Joe's seen as myself, but from that side of it, you know, you guys make Challenger lures. You got the Sheffield family of reels, you know, with a joint partnership of Okuma. How have you seen the sales of center pins in the past, you know, say 5 to 10 years that you've been there?
So when it first started, you know, most guys on the river, they'd see someone catch a fish with it and be like, oh, what kind of fly reel is that, you know? And then you had to explain to them, you know, it's not a fly reel, it's a float reel, there's no drag really on it. And you know, you saw a few of them on the river, and then throughout the past few years, it just exploded. I mean, pretty much everyone on the river is using a center pin almost right now. You know, I think it's probably the most effective way to fish, you know, any river system, you know, for salmon, steelhead.
And you can always tell a new pinner, because if they are a bottom bouncer or a fly fisherman, you see them walking with 2 rods in the beginning just to build up their own confidence. I see that countless times on our river where they have both rods, and of course that's an opening for me to say, hey, I'd like to take you out and give me 15 minutes, and you won't be carrying that other rod around no more. You'll be a pinhead like the rest of us. And you know, I've gotten a lot of trips that way, and you know, helped a lot of people be more successful anglers that way.
I'm sure you get a lot of questions asked about shot patterns, beads, floats, all that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the biggest question I get is, you know, our river fluctuates a lot. So say a guy's fishing at, like today, at 1800. Of course, you're going to put more shot on because the water's moving faster. Then the next day, they drop the water, or if you're at home, you know, in your waterways too, now I got all these weights on, which cost me money, and they're round, they're not the wingtip. What do I do? Well, the real simple answer to the first part of the question is you just slide them up under the float. The float can handle it, obviously, because you've already had that much weight on there. Just because you place it under the float is not going to make your float start going down. You're not going to have to increase the grams of your float or in such the weight of your float. The other question I'll get, the second part of that is, well, then how many do I know to run down my line? That's a tough one for me to answer if I'm not with you. I would say push, if you got 10 of them on there, you know, push half of them up. If you see you start getting stuck or you drop it in front of you and it's not going the way you need it to go, where you pretty much, where you want, excuse me, where you want your last weight to stop. So this bait spins around under there and you want this close to the bottom. You want your last weight and your swivel close to the bottom, then this will swing freely. So the answer to that is really going to be totally up to you, because I'm not with you, but slide as many as you have to up until you see you're getting the right float, even if you drop it in front of your feet. That is a huge question I get. The other question I get in a lot of the things that I see is guys are putting weights right here. They're running them from their float down to about 6 inches above your bait. I don't care what bait you're using. Don't do that anymore. You will not allow this bait to run freely. If you can think about it in your mind for a second. Now your bait's doing this. It's just swinging around like that, and it's not getting the full, I'd say, power or encouragement of the water flow. You put it up here, now it's spinning around. So if you think of, you know, say an egg, which is what we have here, bead, it's going to spin around like that on the bottom with the way the current's pushing it, make it look more natural. You're going to get more bites, and you're going to be a happier fisherman or woman.
Big. Really big. Oh, just jumped down there.
Oh, it's way down there. Keep
jumping
that
like
tip down.
crazy.
Keep that tip down. Circumstance is, we got a pretty good fish on. We're trying not to blow the hole. We weren't going to stop here. It looked too good, we did, and I think this is Joe's 3rd cast, and he got one that hit and just started screaming down river. He gets past there, he's going to get us in rocks, and we're going to lose him. So we're trying to help out here and catch this fish with Joe.
Fresh fish too. It's definitely running.
Keep him tight, JoJo. Woo! Snow's coming, baby! Anybody on the shore, this fish is gone. We're gonna try and get him to come to us here. Joe, if I was you, I would come behind where I am, take your time, and I'll get where you are, and we get a better chance of getting this mug in. All right. Jesus.
Big fish, it does not want to move.
And they're the best. Why we do it? Listen, I'm catching these fish for 25 years. It never gets old.
Nope.
Especially when you get a big one, it blows the hole
Never.
like that. We weren't after this fish. You're on the bank. He's swimming out with your stuff, man. Keep him low, Joe. Just keep him low. Of course, not only having Joe who works at Triple S for Dave, but you know, we're using all their equipment. I mean, everything, you know, it's a big fish. You got all the right equipment, is 99% of getting it in. Oh, ah, baby!
Yeah!
Woo! Woo, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Been around a while, but that's another big male. Woo! Woo! My man.
Nice nut.
Good job, brother. You know, we try and bring some entertainment when we do these videos. You know, not just me sitting there talking monotone all day. So we get you out here. I got Joe out here for the first time. Loved what he did for me at the Niagara. Made a good friend and fishing partner. And we're going to end off today with the Sheffield EXP. This fish blew us probably 1/8 of a mile, maybe a little bit more, from the hole we hooked him in. And here we are with this beautiful prize at the end of the day. We're going to leave you with that right now. Fish on from Captain Rick and Mr. Joe. Peace. Hey, I don't care what else happens today. We landed 6 good fish, man. Woo! My man.